Blood moon alert, Aries. The blood moon is on September 27th if you're using Eastern Daylight Time. If you're using Greenwich Mean Time, it's on the 28th. Nevertheless, the blood moon is in Aries, and that's the total lunar eclipse. The partial solar eclipse is on the 13th, and that's the new moon in the sign of Virgo the Virgin. And also this month, on the equinox, that's the 23rd of September, when the sun's ingress is from Virgo into Libra. So this is quite a month. And your ruling planet of Mars will be direct in Leo to ingress into the sign of Virgo the Virgin on the 24th. So there's a lot of intense energy this month. So we want to keep you up to date with all of these events, all these astrological events. Now, let's see how your ruling planet of Mars affects you this month, Aries. I'm Pastor Rosemary, the Astrology Angel. Thank you for joining us. This is an angelic horoscope transmission from your guardian angel, the angel who resides over fire, the fire signs of the Zodiac, Michael, and your specific Aries angel, Machidael, who resides over your cardinal fire nature. And these are his messages for you in love, money, and health. First, we're going to go over the love transmission. And also, a heads up, we're going to put a planetary formula at the end of the transmission, where we usually put our afterglow. We're going to put our planetary formula to give you just sort of a fun little problem. It's fun for us, fun for you to solve. It's kind of a Rosicrucian Kabbalistic formula. We're going to use Venus retrograde in Leo conjunct Mars in Leo. We're going to put, that's on the 1st of September. We're going to put that at the end of the transmission when we just give you a little rundown of the aspects and facets that you might want to pay attention to this month. So that'll be fun, so stay tuned for that. Now, your love transmission. Okay, with all of this going on, what's going to happen? Basically, people are going to be very forceful. And they're not going to be using their heads so much. They're going to be using their fiery, passionate hearts. Everybody's been saying, come from your heart, follow your heart, go with your heart, do what your heart says. The heart's never going to put you in the right direction, by the way. Only your gut instincts will do that. And your brain will always put you into the wrong place as well. Your gut instincts is what you need to follow. However, with a lot of the, with Mars moving into Virgo, and with the first part of the month, with the sun in Virgo in September, you don't want to sort of get an indigestion, but you do want to use your gut instincts. So you're going to want to pay attention and not overtax your third chakra, okay? Because while everybody else is using their heart and trying to use the ferocity of their mind or the passion of their heart, and they're going to be going off half-cocked. They're not going to really be in a very good situation. And they're going to come at people rather forcefully. So what you need to do in order to prevail in matters of love is just understand that they're going to say, I want you to do this. I want you to do this. You don't have to do what people say. They can go do that if they want to do that. You don't have to do it. You need to follow your own rules. You don't have to follow anybody else's. You have to, but you do have to keep your own standards. So you have to be true to your own inner rules. That's the key. And to control yourself so others don't control you. Because I guarantee you, the moment you do what somebody wants you to do, they say, I want you to do this, especially if it's a family member or a friend or like a best friend or someone that's a romantic interest or a spouse or whatever, you will find that the minute you do what they say, they won't want you anymore, or they won't care, or they will say that they never said that. So, basically, as people tell you that they want you to do this or they want you to do that, simply say to them, if they want you to do that so badly, we'll just say, why don't you go do that? That's all, because that's obviously something they want to do. And they want you to be the canary in the coal mine. That's what's going on. So you don't want to be the canary in the coal mine, because then if something is going to go awry or amiss, or something's going to not work out right, like you're the first one out the gate, you're kind of going to be the one that gets, smacked in the face with the ball of chain, the ball and chain. What's that in the movie Gladiator? When that guy who was first out in the gladiatorial ring got his face knocked off. So you understand how that works. And this is a month for that. With all of this going on, this is what's happening. Now, to get into your area of money, how is this all going to affect your financial life? The first month is going to be, the first week, is going to be kind of annoying. So September, when it comes to money and finances and career, it will start off in a very annoying fashion. And picking up around the second week and the third week will be more, it'll feel better. It'll be stronger. You'll feel like you can actually get somewhere rather than things just being irritating or annoying or feeling like you're being nickel and dimed. Also there's a lot of talk about all kinds of convergences going on at this time, meaning just various events. There's obviously a lot of cosmological events, astrological events going on at this time because of everything we just mentioned. There's a lot of holidays falling on this time because it's an equinox. So various religions have various holidays. So various religions are having their holy days at this time. So there's so much going on, and then people are feeling that, okay, this means that something big is going to happen. Because if you look back into history, you'll see that at this time, on these types of events, things have occurred, and indeed they have. The trick is, and this is something that's going to be quite noticeable this month, is that a lot of things are going to occur, but you're going to have to pay attention and seek various, and maybe even not the news services that you usually utilize to find out what's actually going on. You're going to have to look at different sources and gather to really find out what's going on, maybe from different cultures or different countries. Watch various news programs that you don't normally watch if you want to know what's going on. Because it's amazing how, if you watch just one news organization, you'll get a very one-sided or biased opinion about how things are. If you don't watch news at all, then you'll think nothing's going on. Because it really, a lot of what's happening is happening at various locations around the globe. And to gather all that, you're going to have to use technology. So if you turn off the technology, everything will seem normal. You understand? This month. There's going to, though, be sort of a tendency for things that are going on to be blocked. So whatever country you're in, your country may want you to believe certain things, or not see certain things, or have a certain bias. This happens in every country. This happens in every culture. It's a protective mechanism to protect the people of that country and for the, the good of who's ever running the show. This is natural and normal behavior. So just understand that. Understand that when things do happen, it's often not broadcasts. There's also a lot of concern about CERN. And this has been activated in 2015. It had a rest for a few years. And it was active. It was also on in 2008. Whether or not that matters is neither really here nor there. I'm just not going to be a big talk about CERN. But we would just like to touch on it, in that the more we probe into how reality is structured and how matter is held together, And the more we take it apart and then put it back together so we can then begin to build, this is how, actually, you can begin to understand how science and religion can begin to come together. The reason Kabbalah is very interesting is because it's the marriage of science and spirituality. It's the marriage, it's how you, when you take religion, which is sort of trying to hold on to something until we understand, and you take science, which has its own laws that are breached by people that are extremely, every time there's a leap in science, someone has to break the rules or go against the grain of the conventional wisdom. You understand all that. So this is a time when rules are going to be breached. And it happened in, the Higgs boson, that was discovered in 2012. So things are happening, but people seem to think that unless something is negative or horrific or extremely painful, it's not real. That if it's good, it can't possibly be anything beneficial. It has to be scary or dangerous or horrible or destructive to be exciting. All of that is quite the point, because at one point that does happen when reality is undone. But if you can undo reality and figure it out, you can also, and they have, put it back together again, and that's the difference. Because the atom was already split a long time ago. So now it's time to figure out how to use subatomic particles and quarks and put things back together again. And to build one subatomic particle at a time. Of course, the speed of that is how you can get to the point where you can use your printer to print out anything. I mean, someday we'll be printing out organs, and we'll think that in the past, how barbaric, when they had to take an organ from one person and put it into another. That kind of thing. So this is what we're going to be getting into. Not necessarily in this video any further. That's about all I want to cover here. It's enough of that. But this is what the human race is now going to be getting into. And this brings us into our health transmission. And for the first 3 weeks, because of this Mars in Leo, you may feel, up until the 24th, that the heart, the fourth chakra, the circulatory system, even the spinal column, are all overstimulated. A lot of blood pumping to the heart. You may end up with some hypertension, and depending on, how you have treated your body, it may be a bit much. You may get too much circulation into the heart. Again, some hypertension, those kinds of situations. So you want to, for the first 3 weeks especially, before Mars ingress into Virgo on the 24th, you're going to want to calm the heart chakra and soothe and try to slow down the chi going to the heart chakra, so it's not such an over amplification of that heart muscle, because the heart is a muscle. And yes, it's good to strengthen it, but it can also become that's a muscle that can become overstressed. And you don't want that to be the case. You want to lessen the strain and stress on the heart. And that can be done with lovely, walking, not too much, it depends on, again, you should check with your physician if you're not sure. Because if you're getting high blood pressure because the exercise that you're using, like say you're lifting really heavy weights or something, that's natural for the blood pressure to go up when you lift weights, especially if you're lifting really heavy weights. But again, you want to check with your doctor if you got a lot of mass on you, okay, or at least a sports doctor. All right, now we're going to get into the afterglow, and we're going to go over the planetary aspects and facets that we feel are important to highlight for you, and then we're going to go over that planetary formula for you. All right, Mars is direct again in Leo. until the 24th to ingress into Virgo. Mars is direct this year, and in 2015. And when Mars is Mars is direct this year, 2015, and when Mars is direct, you can stick up for yourself, but so can everybody else. But because Aries is ruled by Mars, you can stick up for yourself a little more than others. Scorpio is also ruled by Mars, but they have Pluto affecting them as well. All right, now Venus is retrograde on the 1st, conjunct Mars. That's the formula we're going to get into in a moment here. And on the 8th, Mars is trine Uranus, retrograde. And on the 25th, Mars is square Saturn. The formula that we're going to go over again on the 1st of September, Venus retrograde in Leo, conjunct Mars in Leo. So what does that do? If you take that formula and you put it together, you get, this is the answer, angry breakups could ensue. Due to feelings of abandonment, say people like maybe they're abandoning relationships in favor of work or projects. People often say, oh, they're they're a computer widow, their husband is always with their computer, or, whatever, that kind of thing. But it doesn't have to be a computer. It could be their work, or it could even be a person's groups that they attend, whatever. Say they're a member of a certain group or lodge or something. People often feel that their spouse or their family members or their friends or their close significant others have abandoned them in favor of certain projects that they're into. So this is not going to necessarily, I'm not telling you what you should do about that, but I'm just telling you that that's why this will be something that will happen in September. But again, in September, people come at you saying, I want you to do this. And if this is happening, people who have gone off and focused on, to be quite frank, people who have gone off and focused on other things besides certain relationships have done that, quite frankly, because they felt ignored. So they focused on something else. And you're not likely to get back the kind of attention you had before, depending on which side of that equation you're on. So everybody just needs to understand that. And people can, just lightly get back in touch with people that they feel they've gotten out of touch with, that's all. And all will be well. Just understand where the people are coming from. And because no one's in a vacuum. Other people you're not in a vacuum. You have other relationships in your life of various and sundry types. The people you care about, they don't live in a vacuum either. They have various relationships. So just understand that. And things will go much better. All right. Thank you, Aries. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pastor Rosemary, the Astrology Angel, and join us again next month.